Right.
Welcome to another episode of Soul Filling, where you get your soul fed. I'm Tiffany,
I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Kobe.
and today we are talking about the power of focus, y'all. Focus is so important to focus on good things, everything, but I don't know if we understand the power behind zoning into our focus. So that's what we're talking about today. And there's just a lot of things that made me think about this podcast. But one of the main things was a podcast by Lewis Howes and Bob Proctor. Girl, boy, sir, ma'am. Okay. When I say they had about 5,200 podcasts in one episode, I was smitten. Y'all all go listen to that. It changed my life. Honestly, I'm about to basically regurgitate what most of the episodes said. So you can watch that, you can watch this. But one of the things that really just stuck out to me is just like, dang, like the reason why a lot of us, or let me just speak for whoever resonates with this. I just feel like the reason why, if you feel like you haven't gotten to your purpose yet or living in the life or the trajectory that you want to, is because of your lack of focus. And so we're going to dive deep into that. So, my first question is to get it on and popping is I think we should ask ourselves, what are we focused on? So in the morning, when you wake up, what are you focused on? So I really want y'all to think about this. What's one of the first things you do? What do you do throughout your day, every single day? What do you make a priority? So Kobe, Jasmine, do you have it in your mind of what you focus on?
So there are some things, that are the same, gratitude, praying, that stays the same. But as far as those little things, like there are long-term goals that I have, and then there are short-term goals. So something, week to week, there might be some short-term goals that I'm focusing on. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's a deadline approaching for like grad school. I'm applying for grad school, so trying to get my transcripts in, things like that. Long term, it might be we were trying to get this apartment. So, hey, what does your week look like? Can we go look at some apartments this weekend? So it just changes. But I do know that, like I said, grouping those long-term goals and those small term goals, and just knowing, okay, this week I need to focus on this because this deadline is approaching, and then I have time to work on these other things. So I focus different things week to week, day by day.
That's good. How about you, Jazz?
That's good. That's good. Kind of similar to Kobe. Like, I do move things based on the level of priority as to what I focus on, because just the daily variables of life. As life goes, you're gonna just be hit with different situation, real life events, things that need attending to. So I definitely, it just there are those things in life, like you got to check off your to-do list, whether it's for your job, whether it's for your family, whether it's for, so I'm shifting my focus based on people. But then I also, like Kobe said, I have these long-term things. Like one of the first thing I wake up in the morning, um I'm always, thankful. I'm thankful. It depends. If lately I haven't been waking up late, so sometimes when I wake up late, my focus is all over the place. And so that's why I think even when it comes to focus, like having some sort of life structure can really help your clarity, help you become more focused. So I definitely think that that is important, just to even be able to focus on our long-term goals, because if we're living in survival mode, and I was having this conversation with actually many people, with my cousin, my brother, with Millard that one day. And we were just saying, sometimes it's so hard for people to focus because they're living in a state of flux. They're living in this either survival mode, or they're living in fear, or they're living in doubt. And so um, I would say for me personally, I would be lying if I sat up here and made it seem like I was perfect and I didn't get doubts, and that didn't make it hard for me to focus on my long-term goals at times. And but for the most part, I do feel like I focus on gratitude. I focus on my long-term goals, which are always creating generational wealth for my family, and for the Black community. That's been one of my main key focuses, and not just creating it for myself, but also teaching others how to create generational wealth for themselves as well. So that's been one of my main focuses. How about you, Tiff?
That's so good. I'm proud of y'all. My focus has been very scattered because I always, if we're talking about waking up in the morning, first thing I do usually is thank God for being alive. Hallelujah. But then my day immediately goes to work. It's just work. It would more work. What I got to do next. And when I say work, this is like working for my job. And so my day is full of that, but I'll always always make space to also focus on, my well-being, whether that's taking a walk or calling my mom or calling my friends, my dad, my brother. Like, that's actually been a very grounding place for me to just talk to people, especially in quarantine. I know not everybody's not quarantine, but I do limit the people I see. And so those calls are very important. And so right now, and then soul filling when I can. So, soul filling today, Saturdays, I edit the podcast, and that's pretty much it. I think about it as well, but if I'm honest with myself, I'm not dedicating enough time to soul filling, to the things that I really want. And so the reason why I asked this question is I want to know, when you're looking at your day every single day, how much time are you prioritizing into creating the life that you want? So the second question I have is, what do you want your life to actually look like? And so when what have I been prioritizing, what have I been focusing on Monday through Friday, Saturday through Sunday, and is it really equal to what you want your life to be? And if those two aren't congruent, then you have to do some shifting. You have to take a step back and see what's stopping you. So now I want to ask this, now that you know, and I'm talking to you soulmates in Kobe and Jazz, now that you know, okay, this is what I want for my life. Do you feel like you're putting in the work day to day to make it come true?
For me to honestly answer this question, I can say I'm not perfect. I can say that there are days that I feel like I'm on top of it and I feel like all of my focus is being geared toward that thing that I want. But then if I'm being honest, when real life stuff happens in situations, that I feel when you have those short-term goals, and not even they're your goals, maybe they're just tasks that you're obligated to do at your job. I can say my focus, once my plate gets so full and bombarded in some days, in some ways, or on months, or some months, I can say that my shift does tend to get off of the thing that my ultimate life's, I don't even want to say ultimate, because I don't ever feel like we truly reach an ultimate goal, but for my long-term goals, let me say that my big goals, my macro goals, I can't get so caught up and hung up on the tasks, those to-do tasks that I'm supposed to be doing for A, B, C, X, Y, Z, to the point that sometimes I can neglect what I am, it can deter me from giving my all into fueling and spending that time each day, if I'm being honest, with just, simply thinking about and imagining and using the power of my creative thought to create that thing. It's like after I get done, working, and I get done and come home and eat and try to squeeze in a walk before now this daylight savings come in, and then and even when you come back, you still got other things on your to-do list, and you're like, well, let me just get like 5 more things done, and then by that time, I'm like, oh, I'm exhausted. Let me just relax, and then before I know it, I'm knocked out, and I ain't took 1 second to think about the thing I want to manifest. And so, to answer your question, no, but that's why I feel like we having this podcast, because it helps us become way more accountable. And then I also think that, seasons, life happens in seasons, but I don't want to use that as an excuse to not dedicate your power, because this is so much power, just like imagining things and truly just sitting back and taking that time out to visualize the life you want. Like having a long day, or forget having like, all these things to do for your job or to do for your A, B, C, and D, and X, Y, Z, element of P. It's like we still have to take at least, if not 5 minutes, 10 minutes to be able to sit and truly, without the sky being a limit, no cap on it, like just truly letting our minds just go free and be able to think and focus, like Tiffany said, on the power of the life we want to create. Because there's that saying that says, whether you think you can, but if you think you can't, guess what? You're right, you can't. So if we're not even thinking about all the infinite wonderful things that we can do, that's just like we substituting the word that we can't do it, because we're not even fueling that thought process. We're not even fueling that goal with our own positive thought. But yeah.
Jazz, Kobe, I call y'all both Jazz. So Kobe,
Yeah.
so do you feel like your day to day and your 7 days a week, 365, does it match up to what you want to create in your life? Or I mean, y'all might like, to what you want to create in your life. Let me not go back on that.
No, it's good. Yeah, I'm on the same page as Jazz. It changes. Some weeks are, I feel like it is lining up, and then some weeks, life happens, things, come up, and you find yourself like not even just kind of going, just letting the day take you wherever it takes you, versus the task that you have set out in your mind. But it happens. So yeah, I mean, just to put it simple, it's the same. I'm the same. Some weeks are good, some weeks are not. And I think it's one of those things that, at times we do take for granted, that, oh, I have tomorrow, oh, I have another day, oh, I have another day. And it's one of those things I know I shouldn't take it for granted, that I have more time to get things done. But I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like a reflection. I think we're kind of all on the same page. Not saying like our life isn't great now, but I know for me, if we're thinking about the last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, pay attention. It's just like, there's something burning in you. You're like, okay, life is good friends, good family, great job, good, health is good. But I feel like I could be even more happier, joyful. And I have the audacity to say, I want to live a joyful life, doing the things I love in purpose every single day. But right now, there's something blocking that. And so I'm wondering, and it sounds like we're on the verge between survival mode and thriving mode. Like we're not like, oh, we got to do this, but we're more like on the bridge of surviving and thriving, because, we're trying to create generational wealth. We gotta work. But I ask myself this sometimes, and this might just be a thing for me, is the reason why I feel or my day is so took up with work, 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 work is because although I feel like I have an abundant mindset, I'm really operating out of lack because my plate is so full. And so I don't trust myself or God enough to know to think to myself like, what if I take some things off my plate and focus things that are good, things that are great, and focus on what we like to call our zone of genius, the purposeful, the meaningful, destiny driven life that I really want to operate out of. So I'm wondering, is it that my days are overwhelmed because I choose, I have to get this, I have to get that? Or is it coming out of a place of, I don't really trust. I don't know if I could do this. And so does that make sense? Because I don't know if I'm
Yes.
explaining this right. Okay.
Yes. So, oh no, go finish. Oh no. Okay.
So basically the question is like, what, if this is true, what are the blocks that are stopping you? Because there's always an excuse, right? There's always to be an excuse. I have to do this, I have to do that. Look, I've been the one to work 24 hours a day, 2 hours of sleep. But I'm asking myself, does it gotta be like that? In whatever scenario you have for your life, because everyone's different.
Right. I think, with that being said, and that's a great point, because I think a lot of, working class people, we can all relate to that. Like, we're going through our lives, we're feeling like we're accomplishing things, because it's not that we sitting here being lazy, y'all, and just, it's not like we just wasting time and choosing like, hey, I'm just not gonna focus, I'm gonna sit here and I don't know, watch TV all day and catch up on Netflix series all day from the time we wake up to the time we go to sleep. So I do feel like we're in this state of it's about still living your life, but being able to find a way to constantly check yourself to make sure you are flowing. And when I say moving in the direction, I'm not necessarily mean physically moving. We have to mentally check ourselves to make sure like, hey, what am I feeling right now? What am I thinking right now? So check your feelings and your emotions. Wait, that's the same thing. Check your thoughts and your feelings, or your feelings and emotions are interchangeable. And so it gets difficult because when you get in the flow of your life, and we kind of develop these, what's the word? You know how when you in the gym and you develop those calluses, we kind of develop thick skin, and like into the way that we just feel like we normalize our lives. Like this is how it's supposed to be. Like to the point we don't even notice that it's even happening. We kind of running on autopilot. And so what we have to do, and this is why it's so important to be around groups of like-minded people that can be able to check you on your things, or have mentors that are in someone that you can look up to, whether it's a virtual mentor, whether it's someone you can actually give one-on-one advice, or whether it's a motivational speaker you're listening to that can feed into you and pour into you on a daily basis. Because guys, this is really a daily, a hourly, a secondly, I don't want to even call it a fight, but a fight for your future. Because it's like, if we get so consumed in the normal mundane things of the day-to-day life, whether that's focusing our energy on all the negative things that's happening in the world, or focusing our energy on all this work I got to get done, we will lose sight of what we truly even want. So we have to really take a conscious decision to say, no, this is the doubt I have, this is what is going on, but I'm gonna choose to think about my life. And it sounds so unrealistic, and in the words of Bob Proctor, because I had to watch a little snippet of the Focus clip on YouTube. It was like 3 minutes long, but in the snippet in the words of Bob Proctor from the snippet, he was like, I know what you're probably thinking. You're like, who, I have all this stuff going on. Who can be sitting there thinking, I gotta change the way I think about this outcome of this situation to process it in the way I want. Well, he didn't really say all that, but basically, he was saying, who would think that this? I know you're probably thinking that's not realistic. Well, the thing is, we're not trying to be realistic. I mean, who the hell wants realistic? You want to be successful. You want to live an abundant life. You want to thrive. And because the masses aren't doing this, the masses aren't thriving in that true life of happiness, that true life of fulfillment, that true life of abundance and success. So we can we can continue to not do this and continue to flow in the way that the masses are going, or we could, you're going to be going against the grain. You will probably be the outcast. You will probably be one that everybody looking at like, that's not realistic. That don't add up. But it's because that's what faith is. Faith is unmeasurable. Faith is, it's one of those things where you're not being realistic. Literally, the whole aspect of faith is believing in something that is unseen, that you have never seen before. And so that's in and of itself is not realistic. So it's like it's just like when you go to the gym, when you strengthen your body, strengthen your cardio, your heart, your muscles, you have to consistently do that so that it can stay strong. Same with our faith. We have to work to consistently increase our faith so that it can be strong on a day-to-day basis, so that when all the turmoil of the world is happening, we still have that inkling in our mind that's going to say, my outcome is going to be better than this. It's going to be greater than this. I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to achieve this. Like we have to. That's like our life depends on it. Like the life that we truly want, a life of fulfillment, depends on it.
Yes, agreed. That's so good. So Kobe, do you feel like you have any blocks at the moment? Like, do you feel like you have any blocks, or is your block yourself? I think a block is always ourselves, but I digress.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's always ourselves. Because I mean, you were talking about, is it fear, or is it not trusting God, or lack, or and I think it's just the we have to create that system, because the reality is we make time for what we want to make time for. And every Saturday, and it changes, but from 8 to 10, every Saturday, we on here recording our podcast. So it's just I think you just have to create those systems and create those things that it's like, okay, from, no matter what, from this time to this time, I know some things might fluctuate, some things might change, but I'm gonna sit down, from this time to this time and get this done, or just work on it a little bit, because I do, like I said earlier, I find that sometimes I'm at work and I'm multitasking and I'm online emailing and looking up stuff and emailing people, for soul filling, and messaging people on Instagram. So it's like it's there, that, like you said, that passion, that fire is there, but for some reason it's just not creating that downtime, and that's, dedicating that specific time where I'm saying, okay, I'm going to focus on solely just this.
That's so good too, because that's it. Systems,
Yeah.
We have created a system to where we film on Saturdays mostly. We know we got to film every week, and Saturdays has been our day.
Yeah.
We have to post on Tuesday. So it's just like a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And so, yes. So there's other things, and just think about this, soulmates, and for your life, what are the things that you need to put on automatic? Because the reason why it's so easy for us to put other things first is because they already have a system. Work has a system. You having your hygiene is a system. You picking up your kid from school is a system. It's a no-brainer. But if there's not a system in place, you feel like you have to grab time. It's a negotiable, because like, oh, I'll just get to it when I can. When I'm done with all the other systems that are already in place for me, then I'll get to it when I can. So I think that's a huge thing. Like, but I think the thing that gets us is we have to make time to create the system and then also dedicate to the system and prioritize the system. And so, just think about, because it does become easier. Even when I was paying off my debt, I had a system. I said every time my check comes in, this much is going over to my student loans. Like, it was a system. I expected, okay. And but it has to be top of mind and actually, and that's the easy thing, I feel like. But yes, I digress. But Jazz, it seems like you had something to say.
Yeah, I was agreeing. I love how you said we even have to make time to create the system. So before we can get on putting our life on this autopilot mode and get into that place where we don't miss a beat and we just know that at this day I'm going to do this and this time I'm going to do that and this, we have to set out that day. Like, I don't know, like about you, but that's why probably at most jobs you have planning days. I don't know, you have those department meetings, you have those, that's because you're tweaking and working on the system that you're going to put in place so that when you're going throughout your week, it's no brainer. You know, at this time you got to do this, by this day you got to do this, that, and the third. So that's one thing about systems. Oh, I'm so glad that you said that, because that would make focus so much more easier. So one thing I did want to touch on though is how powerful focus is. I know we live in a day and time of this multitask world. Like, I can do 50, 11 things at one time. Like, and we pride ourselves on that. I know millennials, especially, we love to say we can multitask and do it all. But this is where multitasking can be really, really hindering, and you can get, a whole bunch of little projects halfway done versus major projects all the way complete. And I like to use the analogy of the magnifying glass. I'm sure y'all heard that, the magnifying glass analogy, where if you were to focus the magnifying glass on the ground in a specific angle with the sun, it can cause a fire. But if you just tweak the magnifying glass just a little off, it will create no fire. So you have to literally sit there and hold it in a specific angle. Not now, imagine if you're trying to hold 3 magnifying glasses, you're gonna keep just tweaking it just one off a little bit, versus if you was holding one magnifying glass, focusing it until that fire started. And that's what, I don't know who said that analogy, but that's how powerful focus is. I know we have all these long-term, short-term goals, but it's like, if we could just truly clear out our mind and focus on that one goal, it's like you will ignite the fire within that goal so that it can truly, manifest, versus, shortening and dimming the fire, giving it a little flame here, a little flame there, a little spark. We give it little sparks instead of the big flame that it can really truly grow into becoming. So don't underestimate the power of focus. I know that it is really, really key, and it's really one of those things that's most likely going to get us to the next level of our lives, to where we want to be.
I love that analogy because it just reminded me of Inspire Fire. And for those of you who don't know, that was the company that birthed Soul Filling Podcast. It was a health initiative that we started. But when you said sparks, that's kind of how I feel sometimes. Like, I feel like we be on a good track. We, as a Soul Filling Podcast, and me personally as Tiffany Malone, whole government name, it's like spark here and there, and then the wind takes it away, the life takes it away, work takes it away, obligations take it away. But it's just like, this goes back to focus. Like Bob Proctor was saying in the interview with Lewis Howes on the School of Greatness, is like, we put our focus with the multitasking. If our focus is on, I'm right here, I'm gonna read my book, scroll on Instagram, drink water, and listen to music, what's getting done? instead of saying, I'm gonna write down my visions. Yeah, done with that. I'm gonna read my book to help me with my visions because I have some blocks. I'm gonna go on a walk, listen to some music, like really focusing on and really enjoying that one thing. And this is like, but what I'm saying, so I want to say this into, because we have to go to work. Like we have to do stuff like that. But making sure, like when you say multitasking, we can't multitask if we want to. We have to allot time for our priority to get us to where we want to be. So for me, I've been thinking heavily about, okay, what is revamping our social media going to be like? I'm like, haven't posted anything because I'm like, I want the next time I post to not, I don't want to stop anymore. So I need some inspiration. I need to focus. So I need to allot some time to create that and to also create a system. And so I see emails, I see DMs. I'm like, okay, now you have to create a system to, okay, every day we should answer everybody and respond to everyone. Like the system's not in place. And so what I'm saying is, like, if your energy is spread too thin, how are you going to be able to light that fire? You have to focus. How are you going to be able to create the company of your dreams? How are you going to be able to get into the school that you want? How are you going to be able to get the body of your dreams, to get healthy, if you are not focusing? You are literally putting your energy out. And another thing Bob Proctor was saying was like, okay, if we're focusing, what are we emitting? We're emitting energy. We're putting our energy into something. And though we can't see it, when you are talking to someone and you love someone, you feel that energy, right? When someone's looking at you and you're looking a whole nother way, you turn around and you see them staring at you, you feel that because they're focusing on you and emitting that energy, which causes you to turn around and look. So we need to focus on what it is so we could literally put the energy into the world so it can manifest itself into physical reality. We have that power. But if your focus is going here and there, just like Jasmine said, it's not going to spark a fire. It's going to just have sparks that blow away. You'll have a high, then go away. You'll have a show, then it goes away. You'll get a good following, then it stays the same. It doesn't go away. But so that's the power. You are literally emitting energy, vibrations into the world to manifest what you want by thinking about it, by visualizing it, by praying about it, putting it into the atmosphere, and acting on it every single day. Or every single day, make it a priority. So yeah, I just feel like we have to do more of that. So now knowing this, Jazz, did you want to say something? It looks like you want to say something. Oh, so now knowing this, how do you, Jasmine and Kobe, and how do you soulmates feel like you can actually do this? Because we all have, soul filling is one of our goals, to prosper and make an impact and monetize to where it's monetized in a salary type way. It's a lifestyle type way, but we also have our personal goals. So now knowing that, okay, I need to put my energy into these things. What does that look like for you? Or do you not know yet? Jazz?
Yes, so I've been thinking, and as I was thinking about this, because I was thinking about this before the podcast, like I need to really, really hone in, so to speak, on my goals, my visions, my life. And one thing I'm thinking for me that I'm gonna start to do, I'm gonna start out small, like a muscle. Well, so for one, I had to take that day, and everybody, I'm not saying my way. Hold on, we got phone calls in the background. Baby, silence your phone. Okay. No, but for me, I feel like I really need to hone in and focus on what I want in life. And the way I think is going to look different for everybody, but like Kobe was saying earlier, we need to create a system. And then like I just said earlier, like we have to set aside a day so that we can even, or maybe it may be more than a day. Maybe you might need to set aside a couple days until you really craft the system the way you want it to be. And so I think that is really going to boil down to me creating some form of system, because with my finances, that's what really happened. And Jarvis and I, we were talking on last night about focus, and I was like, that's crazy, because that's what our podcast is going to be about tomorrow. And he was just basically saying, it is basically what we've been saying this whole podcast. He's like, whatever you focus on, you truly get. And he's like, 2020 has been one of those years for me of focusing on financial increase. And it's crazy how, we really got that this year. And so I was just thinking to myself, it's because we created a system. We created a way of doing our finances to where the point it was automatic. And that's what systems do. And we talked about this on previous podcasts, how systems make things automatic. It makes it on those bad days when you don't feel like doing it, when you feel sick, you're just not all in or emotionally there. It still creates a means to a way for you to find a way to get it done, whether that's, I don't know, in this case, you kind of can't pay nobody to visualize your life for you. So you got to actually sit down and take that time out for yourself to truly engulf and allow yourself to really go all in and see that there's the sky's the limit. So reeling everything back in, putting it all together. One thing I have did in the past two weeks is I gave myself a bedtime, and that was one of the most powerful, transformative, like milestones that I feel like I'm on my road to riches now. Like I've been waking up early, like y'all, I'm on time today, y'all. Look at me now. I'm joking, because I be oversleeping, and because especially on my weekends, I would stay up so late during my weekdays that on my weekends, I was just so drained to the point where I just wanted to sleep during the weekend. Like I need to catch up on all that missed sleep. But it's like I've been scheduling my sleep times during the week. So like automatic, like 10 o'clock, I know it's kind of early because I'm used to going to bed at 1, 2, 3 o'clock, and it took some adjusting. But I'm like, I had set an alarm on my phone, and I'm like, okay, so automatically at this time, I know it's bedtime. And so I was like telling my coworker this, I'm going to start setting alarms for everything, like the smallest mundane things, so that I can get things done. I'm like those little reminders. Oh, you need to be doing this at this time. You need to be doing that at this time. And I have just automatic reminders to remind me every day of the week. I don't have to set the reminder the night before or the day before or a few hours. Like it's just an automatic Monday through Friday, this alarm is set. Saturday through such and such, this alarm is set. And I'm just trying to create a more automatic flow of my life, so that it's like even when I don't want to do it, it's automatic. And that's what helped my finances was when I read the book The Latte Factor. He said make it automatic, because when you make it automatic, it ain't no evading or going away from it. So what I'm going to do when I get off this podcast here in just a second is I'm going to make an automatic alarm on my phone that has my meditation time. And I know a lot of times we think we got to meditate and Nam Myoho Renge Kyur for 30 minutes straight. Sometimes it don't even need to be 30 minutes. It could just be 1 to 2 minutes. If you 1 to 2 minutes of you really powerfully focusing on something versus 30 minutes of you flowing in and out, going here, there, barely focused, is way more powerful if you just have those 2 strong minutes versus 30 forced minutes. So I'm going to set an alarm to make it automatic so that I can truly visualize, because I think that's the start. Because what you have, that desire to want to even put that first step forward. And so that's one thing I'm gonna start doing, but just creating a system, making it automatic, and really just allotting time so that I can focus on the things that I do want, no matter how bad and draining my day was, just giving myself 1 to 5 minutes to focus. And then who knows, in a few months, it may grow to 10, 13, 14, 20, 30 minutes. But yeah, that's what I'm going to start doing so that I can, because it's that focus piece is so real. How about y'all?
Kobe?
Yes. So for me, definitely going to start by rescheduling, like recalibrating my schedule. For me, I'm a big calendar person. So like for right now, it's basketball season for Jayla, right? She has games. So, adding that to my schedule, knowing, okay, these are the days she has home games, away games, trying to figure out what can I make. I know work is about to end here soon, but I know, my schedule, I knew my schedule, for work like in a month in advance. So just really being intentional about my days and trying to schedule things ahead of time and getting on top of things versus, waiting to the last minute to do things and, just really scheduling out that time to get things done in a timely manner so that, I'm not waiting. I like the biggest thing for me is like, I really want to enjoy Thanksgiving this year. I really want to enjoy Christmas. And so even small things like putting up the Christmas tree and, grocery shopping for Thanksgiving, things like that can really creep up on you. And you at the last minute at the store, shelves are empty, you like, dang, can't find no whipping cream, like, heavy cream, So really starting to even do, some shopping. Go and get them elbow macaronis right now. Go on and get, certain things while I can versus waiting to the last minute. And then I think that's really the biggest thing for me. Like Jazz said, setting those alarms, having those reminders. But for me, the biggest thing is if it's on a schedule for me, if I know, hey, I have to be here at this time, I have to do this by this time, then, I'm gonna get it done. So really writing it down and putting it in the calendar and doing it.
That's good. And I love all your points because enjoying, that's really all I really want.
Yeah.
I just want to enjoy life every day, doing what I want and loving what I want. And I know it's possible. I see it. That's why it's so important to surround yourself with people or put people in your picture to show like, oh wow, you can really do anything. And so yes, enjoying the things like spending time with your family, because lately it's just been like I've been so bombarded with work that it's just like I'm always thinking about what's next. And it's not what's next for what I want to do, it's what's next for something else. And so that enjoying piece is so important. But to answer my own question about like what I want to do next, and I really do want to do this, is the planning session. Basically what Jazz was saying is to refocus and truly understand what it is I want my life to look like. Because we could create a life that seems great, it seems awesome, and it very well may be, but it's not like what we talk about, the zone of genius. That's your purposeful, it's your destiny, it's your joyful stage, as in when you're in your zone of excellence. And this is all from the book The Big Leap. You're just operating in basically what you're good at. It's great, it's good, but it's not amazing. And I want to operate out of amazing. And so now it can get really hard because you're like, okay, good is great, but I want amazing. And so now I have to separate on a piece of paper or in my mind, or really think about what is an amazing life to me. What is it that I want to wake up and do every single day? What is it that I really want my life to look like? Because it can really get confusing between my zone of excellence and my zone of genius. So really taking out the time to figure out, what does my life look at like in a zone of genius? And when I say a zone of genius, again, that's a zone of a purpose, a zone of joyful, a zone of abundance. And so that's my first step. And so also when I also when I think about just like focus even more, when you were talking about like scheduling time, and I think you said something about procrastination, I think we also should take some time to, though we have all these different excuses and stuff like that. I don't want to say excuses, but life does happen. Life, is in the way. That sounds so bad, but life is in the way. But we also have to think of where is our focus really? Because we do have 24 hours a day. It's really like 12 if we're awake, whatever. But some of that time is spent procrastinating. Some of that time is sitting doing nothing. Some of that time is sitting on Instagram. Look, y'all know that they gave us a recap talking about you be on your phone for this many hours. And so that time can really be dedicated to something else. And I know Jazz has to go soon, so let me know if y'all want to hop in, but I just have one more thing to say about focus. And now I'm remembering why I really want to talk about this during this podcast, because I love my job, okay? I ain't gonna lie about that. I feel like I'm destined to be there. So I'm talking about work a lot, but that's just because I have a lot of work. And that's, I can't, that's all I can say. But my job is ran by like our CEO, basically creates courses, and she helps other courses get 6 figures basically in their coursing, more than 6 figures, sometimes 6-figure months. And so she has this one course that it's a new course, and it's for like CEOs that really are like doing the dang thing. Like, and so basically, so we have like a Facebook, and we talk about, so people like state their problems. They put out their ideas, like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? And so this one lady was like, okay, so she's saying this course is going well, but I think that I should, I saw someone else doing this system, and I think I want to try it. So I want to do this, this, and this. And so I hope y'all are familiar with me. This, and this. So 3 separate things. And so my CEO was like, she ran the numbers. So she really database. She ran the numbers, and she was like, basically she saw that if you do all 3 of these things, you'll actually be making way less than what you're making. Instead of, if you focus on this one thing that's actually working, you can make triple, quadruple. So by focusing on this one thing and this simple thing that you already have, instead of making more work for you and focusing on these other 2 things, these products that you have, where you'll actually, if you do the math, will make less just because you saw someone else do it, or just because you feel like you got to give more. No, it could actually be very simple. You create the thing, you focus on that. It's working. Instead of adding on something new, unless it really makes sense, unless the numbers line up, focus. Keep focusing and focusing on that thing, and you could go exponentially. And I just feel like we do that in life a lot. We're like, okay, I've done this. Now I have to do this, and I have to do this. When actually you might just need to hone in on one thing because your energy is so much on somewhere else. So I'm very grateful that I'm learning lessons in my job, but I'm just like, that's crazy, because she really broke up the numbers, and she would actually be losing money because she put on more work instead of just focusing on what's actually working and putting her attention there. So,
girl, Tiffany, that's a whole entire word, because that's so crazy, because we learn about this stuff in Forex and in the real estate market, how a lot of traders, they try to implement so many different strategies, right? And instead of you just, like you said, focusing in on that one strategy, that's ultimately where a lot of your money is going to come from. But what traders will see, like they try this strategy, has been working for them for months, and a bad week happens and something happens and it don't go accordingly, And then they say, you know what? I need a whole new strategy. Throw the whole strategy away. This week I'm gonna do the teacup strategy. I don't know. I just made up a random one. But it's just like, that's so true. Our lives we're always looking so much in search of that next big thing because new things excite us. I guess learning that new thing, going through the process. But if we just focus in on one thing, y'all, life will really just transform. And it was another example I wanted to say, but it's gone from me. But even in the real estate market, it's like there's so many aspects. You could be a renter, you could be a fix and flip, you could be a wholesaler, you could be a residential, a commercial real estate owner. You could just focus on land. It's so many avenues to where people that first start out, they try to do all of them instead of just focusing on one and then allowing you to because, here you go. You can't master something if you don't focus on it. So if we constantly trying to master 2011 things, you ain't gonna master anything. But if you put your energy and learn all there is to know about one particular subject, topic, whatever the case is, it will allow you to master it and allow it to bring more into your life, more value into your life.
It's true. And I guess I just want to end with, I meant to do more research, but what the Bible says to focus on. So, I know we're saying focus on our goals and stuff like that, but what turns, what's bigger than all of us, bigger than our focus, bigger than anything is God. Because once God puts his hand on something, you ain't even had to focus on it. Like he will take it off. He will take it off. But so also focus on him because he will grant you the desires of his heart. Focus on what's true and what's good. And if anything, lead with that. And like always, we have a gratitude heart, like a grateful heart, because though we're talking about the future and what we need to focus on right now, what we have is great. And we should be giving thanks for that because it's just going to push us to the trajectory of wherever we want to go right now. So that's that. You know what time it is?
It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. Y'all, if this is your first time tuning in on the Soul Filling Podcast, we always like to end our podcast with a positive affirmation. So what the heck is an affirmation? An affirmation is any statement that you are choosing to transform your life. Either you transform your life in the good, great, abundant way, or you transform your life in the not so good way. Even in the Bible, it states, let the weak say. Key word here, you got to say this out loud. It says, let the weak say, I am strong. So on them days when you're feeling sticky tied, down and out, don't speak that over your life. Speak uplifting, empowering things over your life. I'm affirming that it's three of us, and it's trillions, fulfillions, gazillions of y'all out there tuned in. So we're going to go ahead and end this thing off with our positive affirmations. Who wants to go first? I'll go first.
Okay.
I am living a life of abundance.
I am focused and full of joy.
I am starving my distractions and feeding my focus.
Remember that one, please. Remember that one. That was great. I love it. All right,
Just
guys.
let them know where to find us.
Yes, please subscribe to us everywhere. We're on Spotify, we're on Google Play, we're on SoundCloud, we're on YouTube if you want to see these reactions. Sometimes I just talk with my hands and be doing the mouse. Okay, so come in and join us on YouTube. But also, this is really going to help us out. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, or even if you're not, please leave a 5-star rating and write something soulful and sweet so we could go higher and higher on the rankings. And we really appreciate that. And of course, we're on all social media platforms. So just follow Soul Filling Podcast there. That's SOULFILLING podcast. And we just thank you so much for listening. We love you so much.
We thank you guys. Until next time, soulmates. Bye. Mwah. We love y'all.
Bye.
All right, y'all. I gotta